We are live. What's good, Josh and man? DL Saint. Welcome. Really want to know podcast, man. It's Trump Thursdays, guys. Trump Thursdays. This is when we talk news, politics, and whatever else we can come up with, right? And much more. I am an hour early than our normal time. As you guys know, we have the comedy show once a month. Every month, the second Thursday of every month, we do a comedy show with Trillis at Buckham. It's here in Ybor City in Tampa. Tonight's our first night, so I'm looking forward to it. It's an open mic, but we also bring in a comic. We got a book comic who's coming in. It was really funny. DC813, he's the man. Great story. One of these days, I'm going to have him on to talk to him. It's going to be a great story. And so I'm going to have to play with the schedule because we're going to have so many events at Trillis. We're trying to really get Trillis up and going, get it popping, getting the word out there, get people in there. It's a great gastro pub, and it's run by an amazing dude. Our man Joel is running that. Joel and I have plans in the future, but in the short term, you should be helping your people out as much as you can. And I'm doing everything I can to help him grow his business. He's in a perfect location, high foot traffic. It's just a matter of us just doing events to get people in there. And that's what we're doing. So we're going to be doing comedy. We're going to be doing jazz. We're going to be doing salsa. We're going to do a trivia night. We got plans. So I'm going to be fudging the schedule a little bit here and there so I can go down and do what I got to do there. Maybe, we'll see. We're just going to plan it out. But 2025, I'm going to make a really good run at, leveling up this platform and doing other things. I'm going to be working with other people, trying to increase the collaborations. We're going to begin to start and grow our community. Like our day ones are here. So we're going to go ahead and start building out a really nice community. We're already a part of one, but we're going to, build some more. So that's it. That's all I got for that part, man. So I want to keep this moving. We are going to be talking about the CEO shooter. We're going to be talking about Bill Burr's thoughts on that and what mainstream media is doing versus, social media. And we're going to talk about Syria, what's going on over there, and how Israel is doing what they got to do to protect themselves over there, and then whatever else pops up, man. So let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. It's some indeed, man. Appreciate y'all. We got brother GMC Hammer in the building. What's good, fam? What's good? One of my brothers, man, the Templar and everything, man. He's out there making it happen, man. He's like, what's good? He got his notifications turned on for me. Appreciate that, man. I hope you guys are turning on notifications. I hope YouTube is letting you turn them on. But yeah, that's what's good. I appreciate that, bro. And yeah, you guys go ahead and turn those on. Appreciate that. We got brother Michael Lee in the building. What's good, fam? You know what I mean? No bus rush, no use today, man. We got some stories for that, man. Next week, we're going to be talking about Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, for you guys that don't know, is probably the best college football player in the nation right now. He plays offense and defense, plays for Colorado. Probably a sure in for the Heisman Trophy. Boy, he has a girlfriend that when you talk about you watching somebody about to crash all the way out, we're going to talk about that next week, guys. So just brother Michael reminded me of that. The woman he's dealing with should be rec use only, but instead he's engaged to her. I hope Coach Prime, I hope Deion Sanders talks some sense into this young man. We're going to talk about that next week. Brother Dino Dinosaur's in the building. What's good, man? Or Dino Dinosaur. Got to break it. Dino Dinosaur. I was calling him Dino Dinosaur. It's a long story. But anyway, Dino's in the building. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. We're going to see. We're just going to push forward and make it work, bro. We're going to see how successful we can make it. We got some, man, like I said, we got some announcements coming in January, bro. We got some good stuff coming, man. So we're going to make a hard push, bro, a hard push, pause, forward. We're going to make that happen, man. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, man. She's downstairs roaming around. She doesn't feel good. She has like a headache or whatever, man. She doesn't feel good, poor baby, but she's all right. She's good. She's doing her thing. Brother Pablo's in the building, man. What's up, man? How you feeling, bro? Like it is what it is. We're gonna do some. We're gonna make this pop. You know what I mean? GL for 2025. It probably means me for 2025, bro. Don't put me in office, man. I'm taking all the money. Don't put me in office. You put me in office, bro. I'm getting 10 million, and then we're gonna go to the next person. Like, who's next? We're gonna get you elected. You get your 10, you get somebody else elected, they get their 10. But we're gonna talk a little bit about where we are when we talk about the CEO shooter. Just gonna be a good conversation. So I just want to get through this. And yeah, man, he's like, yeah, you saw that Wayne posted his girl on the birthday, bro, man. That thing with Travis Hunter, man. Yeah, Travis Hunter is just a young man who's full of life. He hasn't been wrecked by the world yet. He's a great football player, takes care of himself. He's with a good program. He just doesn't understand that the right woman in his life. We talk about this all the time. But we're gonna talk about this Monday for sure. I'm just gonna say this real quick and we're gonna move on. But guys, the right woman, if you pick the right woman, man, she will 1,000x your life. You guys are going to do great things. If you vet her and everything, she's a good one. She's the one. She's the one. But if you pick the wrong woman, bro, she will utterly destroy everything that you have built, man. And that's what it looks like is happening with this Travis Hunter dude, man. He done picked the wrong one. But yeah, Monday we're going to talk about that at length, guys. So just get ready for that. So today, man, we're going to start off with secular talk, man. This is Kyle. This is Crystal Ball's husband, for those who don't know. He has his own podcast, and he's I would call him left, maybe center left, I guess. But he's definitely on. I think he comes more to the left. I haven't watched a whole bunch of his content, but whenever I see him, he doesn't seem to be extreme on either side all the time. Everybody has an extreme view on this, that, or the third. But we're talking about Trump pops off on Syria government collapse. Last weekend, the Syrian government collapsed. There's a faction of rebel forces. There's been like a ceasefire for a while, but they decided to make a move and they took the country. Syria's president or leader took asylum in Russia, and that's Assad. So the country is in flux, and there's a lot going on right there. So when we look at the Middle East, bro, and a lot of people say what you want to say about Israel, but they are surrounded by enemies. Some are more radical than others. People ask me like, "Oh, you pro-Israel?" Like, bro, I'm pro-surviving. So if you got your back against the wall and people coming for your head, I'm pro-surviving. So when you look at what's going on in Syria, the Assad regime was horrible, but that was the regime. You knew what you had with it. Assad was able to stop the rebels with the help of Russia. It was Russian military influence that came in to help him fight off these rebels. And they were able to negotiate some sort of ceasefire, and that's what was going on. But now, as you know, Russia is bogged down in Ukraine. So Russia doesn't have the military influence to fight, on multiple fronts. So these rebels took advantage of that, and they took the country. Now, the guy who's the apparent leader is a guy who's on America's watch list. Like he's like a known terrorist or what have you. But he says he's changed. He's at a different place in life. He's more moderate. He wants to just do what's right for the people. That remains to be seen. We'll see what happens. We'll see what type of government they form in Syria, because you got all these different factions and all these guys. They're not seeing they're not seeing the same. You feel me? Like they're looking at the world differently. So you got that. So here's Israel sitting there, and they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what type of government they're going to be dealing with. They just have no idea. So before we get into this clip here, Israel has been attacking Syrian military installations in an attempt to neutralize some potential threats down the line. They've also attacked their navy. So called them in port. I think Russian ships were there. The Russians left, and the Israelis went in there, and they did what they had to do. So that's what's going on with that. President Biden seems to be in lockstep with Israel. That's pretty much how American policy has been up until this point. Trump is a little different. We have one president at a time. So we'll see the difference in the administrations and their take on this. Trump is one of the, when the rebels made their move, Trump was saying that, hey, man, just sit back. It's not our business. Let them do what they're going to do. That's on them. Okay. Whereas the rest of the world was watching very closely, and they wanted to do what they had to do to get the outcomes that they want, I guess is the way to say it. And that's That's where we are right now. We don't know what type of government is going to be formed. We don't know, is this going to be some Taliban, Al-Qaeda type real extreme government, or is it going to be more of a democratic government where they let people vote in whatever, whoever they want, that we're going to see. But in the meantime, Israel is like, well, here's an opportunity where we're in flux. Let's go over here and take care of business so we can eliminate some of these weapons that could be used against us. So that's what's going on with that. And it's like the fat electrician says, bro, it's not a war crime the first time. If the government failed, the Syrian government failed, there's nothing stopping Israel or anyone else from making moves on that territory for whatever reason, because there's no treaty. All that stuff falls away. Yeah, all that stuff has to be renegotiated and all that. So if people come and say, oh, they can't do that, there's nothing that says that they can't do it. Some people say, well, they shouldn't do it. It just isn't fair. Man, what's fair, bro? You talking about protecting yourself, bro. So there's that. So we're going to listen to what Kyle has to say. I have not seen this, guys. So this is my first time reacting to it. It's like I haven't seen it. So let's listen to what he has to say.
Talked about the fall of the Assad government in Syria, and we showed Joe Biden's statement after that happened. It was massively contradictory. It's literally paranoid schizophrenic imperialism is how I would discuss it. It's sort of like, it's like if I were to script what's going on with our foreign policy from the Bush era and onward, you would say you can't write it like that because it's too silly. That would never happen in reality. But it did. Every step of the way, the dumbest decisions that could ever be made have been made. So in the minds of a lot of MAGA, they think, well, Trump's anti-war. So he's going to, save us. He's going to help us out. He's going to bring stability to the world. This is what a lot of these people think. Now, I've proven 1,000 times over, it is objectively not the case that Donald Trump is anti-war. In fact, Donald Trump put so many warmongers in his administration. Donald Trump himself did many warmongering acts. Probably the best example of that is massively, massively increasing the drone war. It was a 432% increase in drone strikes, and that was only the first 2 years of his time in office. And we don't know about the second 2 years because he got rid of the mandatory reporting of when we do the drone strikes. But we know there was over 2,000 strikes in Afghanistan alone, and we had a 330% increase in civilian deaths while Trump was president. And that's to say nothing about assassinating Soleimani and nothing of the 9,000 other foreign policy things I could point to.
And he has a great point here. When I talk to my MAGA friends and I talk to my Republican friends, a lot of the MAGA people will say, well, yeah, Trump's anti-war and he's like, live and let live. And we're not going to be bogged down and all this kind of stuff. When Trump was president, we weren't involved in any wars. I'm like, oh, bro, what America were you watching? Like what dimension, which version of America, which version of this existence are you in? Are you in the multiverse, homie? Because I know a lot of people who are still deployed, man. We got boots on the ground all over the planet, and there are people getting shot at constantly, and there's people doing shooting constantly. Like Cal was just saying about the drone strikes. All that came under the Trump administration. So it's hard to be America the way America is and not be involved in conflicts. It is what it is. There are a bunch of reasons behind it. We have hawks and we have doves in our administrations, in our political apparatus. You have people like me who understand, like, yeah, you're going to have to use violence. Just use it sparingly if you can, be direct. I like it when the strikes are direct. We know who we hitting and why, and we reduce collateral damage as much as possible. I hate it when we just squander resources and put American men and women at risk and just go into these forever war kind of things like what happened after 9/11, like going in. We invaded the one nation. Saddam Hussein's Iraq had nothing to do with the attacks on 9/11, but that's where we wound up invading. Like what we did in Afghanistan, that was warranted. Taliban, Afghanistan, and Taliban and Al Qaeda. Yeah, we understand that had to happen. But to go after Saddam Hussein because what George Bush said that guy tried to kill my dad, like, bro, that's no reason to invade the one nation that had nothing to do with the attacks on 9/11. And in fact, I'm like, if the reason for going to war is the attacks on 9/11, we're going to go after those countries whose citizens participated, then we should have attacked Saudi Arabia. I was saying that back in 1990 when I was in Desert Storm. When I got over there, looked around, was dealing with the people over there, like, yo, we're fighting the wrong folks. I ain't got a problem with Saddam. I got a problem with these dudes over here, though. I did not like what I saw. Now, of course, Saudi Arabia is a very different place today. It's changed drastically since I was there. But just to give you an idea, America's always going to be involved in stuff. Like I don't see Donald Trump becoming an isolationist. It's like we're just not going to get involved in anything away from America. It just isn't possible. At least I don't think it's possible. But let's continue.
Oh, but he comes out as the rebels take Syria, and he says the following. Ready? Opposition fighters in Syria, in an unprecedented move, have totally taken over numerous cities in a highly coordinated offensive and are now on the outskirts of Damascus, obviously preparing to make a very big move toward taking out Assad. Russia, because they are so tied up in Ukraine and with the loss there of over 600,000 soldiers, seems incapable of stopping this literal march through Syria, a country they have protected for years. So far, all this is correct. The only thing I don't know about is that the Russian soldier death number here. I'm not sure if that's accurate. He continues, this is where former President Obama refused to honor his commitment of protecting the red line in the sand. Okay, we're going to come back to this line. And all hell broke out with Russia stepping in, but now they are, like possibly Assad himself, being forced out. And it may actually be the best thing that can happen to them. There was never much of a benefit in Syria for Russia other than to make Obama look really stupid. In any event, Syria is a mess, but it is not our friend, and the United States should have nothing to do with it. This is not our fight. Let it play out. Do not get involved. So,
the voiceover aside, you could see this guy doesn't like Trump, but what he said was kind of what Trump was saying was all over the place. We have to get involved. The Middle East is a mess. It ain't just Syria. The Middle East, you just look at what's going on over there, man. Like Jordan, Lebanon. Look at what's going on with Syria. Look at what's going on Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan. It is a mess over there. It's going to be a mess. To sit back and say, well, we ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't know what the incoming president means. We'll find out when his administration takes office in January. But it is what it is. We got Ojo in the building. What's good, fam? I appreciate you, man. I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing way better. I'm about 85%. I don't have as much pain. Things are going good. Like I said, man, 2025 is looking good, brother. We have some things in the works. We have some things in the works. I can't wait to announce. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for the compliment, brother. I appreciate you. And brother Pablo's like Iraq kept Iran at bay. Yeah, they were both at each other's necks. I mean, it was crazy. Again, it's always at its best. The Middle East was a mess. When you had Gaddafi and you had Hussein, Saddam Hussein in there, right? You had Ayatollah. You had all at its best is a mess. Right now, we've removed all these strong guys. We've removed, and it's like, what's going to happen? What's going to fill the void? We're going to find out.
Of course, MAG is looking at the last line of the United States should have nothing to do with it. This is not our fight. Let it play out. Do not get involved. They look at that and they go, see, Trump's anti-war. Guys, this very statement is contradictory. You cannot attack Obama for refusing to commit to the red line in the sand while also saying, and by the way, I agree with him, we should stay out. That's not how it works. So look, the thing he's referring to with Obama said, if Assad uses chemical weapons, that's our line in the sand. And then we'll have to act if he uses chemical weapons. Then there were reports that he used chemical weapons. There's a dispute around whether or not that is true. We're not going to get into that. But the bottom line is the general perception of everybody was he used chemical weapons against his own people. And then what did Obama do? He did not approve boots on the ground in Syria. And what he said is, look, I'm going to abide by the Constitution, and I'm going to say Congress has to make the decision first. And if they pass a resolution saying we will do war in Syria, then I'll act on that. And what happened? There was massive public outcry against it. It didn't get through Congress, and he ended up not going to Syria. Guys, that's a good thing. And in fact, the other thing that happened is Obama took that moment to negotiate with Russia and Syria and say, you need to give up all your chemical weapons. And what happened? They gave up all their chemical weapons. The Assad government gave up all their chemical weapons. So if anything, this was like one of the better moments of Obama, where he should have never said the red line thing in the first place, but he did. And then what conservatives did is they used Obama backing off the red line. They used that as evidence of, look, he's weak. Look, he's a bitch. Look, he doesn't follow through. obviously the right thing to do is be Mr. Macho Man tough guy and now do all-out war against Syria and try to topple Assad ourselves. This was the Republican stance. And what Trump is doing here is he's saying those Republicans were right, calling Obama a bitch for not enforcing the red line. But also then Trump goes on to admit, yeah, but Obama was kind of right and we should not be in Syria in the first place. What the fuck? What the fuck? And
that's how you cover all your bases, bro. That's how, when you that guy, like, I want to make everybody happy. He can say what he wanted to say. And I'm talking about, Donald Trump. Like, he can say what he wants to say. Once he takes office, we'll see. You just, what they're saying, what they do are two different things, right, Mike? We were talking about that yesterday when we were talking about Mike Sertain and everything, right? It's like, don't worry about what they say. Look at what they do, right? You hear Trump saying all these things and you look at his picks, you look at who's putting in his cabinet, you look at what's going on. It's like, bro, what? Like, what? So, I mean, it's just a guy playing it. He's trying to play it safe, and he's not president. He's not making a call. Joe Biden is still the president. We only have one president at a time, so Joe Biden is still the president. And brother Pablo, well, you look at stuff like that Ritter guy, bro. You look at Russia is strong, Israel is weak. Well, again, listen to what they say, but look at what the world is doing. We see that Russia is extremely weak. Putin is holding on. He's probably trying to come up with some sort of exit strategy, bro. It's going to be a lot of people that's going to want to unalive him, right? His own people. There's a lot of Russians going to have a problem with Putin. He's probably looking for an exit strategy. He's probably talked to Trump. Trump probably said what he said. It's like, hey, man, I can't do nothing for you, man. Just sounding like Flavor Flav. I can't do nothing for you, man. So I'm pretty sure Putin's looking for an exit. He's got a side in there with him right now, providing asylum for him. Who knows what they're trying to figure out there. But, I mean, it is what it is. And as far as Israel being weak, man, militarily, bro, I mean, the fact that they still exist means that they're not weak. But, it is what it is, man. Let's continue.
And this is what Trump does. This is what he does. Now, by the way, so Obama didn't do a war with Syria and put boots on the ground. He did arm rebels, which is a bad thing in and of itself, but we don't need to get into that now. But Trump did bomb Syria twice. He did bomb Syria twice. Now, by the way, what else is there about Trump and Syria? Again, you cannot watch this clip, which I'm about to show you, and conclude that Trump is anti-war. It is literally impossible to come to that conclusion, because if Obama said this, oh my God, this would have been, you would never hear people stop talking about how much of a warmonger he is, how much of a neocon he is, if Obama said literally the exact same words that you're about to hear Trump say, which is a thing Trump repeated like 1,000 times, by the way. There's countless videos of him saying this.
And then they say he left troops in Syria. You know what I did? I left troops to take the oil. I took the oil. The only troops I have are taking the oil. They're protecting the oil. I took over.
We're taking the oil. We're not taking the oil.
Well, maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
You're protecting the facility.
I don't know. Maybe we should take it. But we have the oil. Right now, the United States has the oil. So they say he left troops in Syria. No, I got rid of all of them other than we're protecting the oil.
If Obama...
That's crazy. Protecting the oil. You guys know that there was an incident where Wagner troops were moving on one of those protected oil sites that were protected by United States military. Do I need to tell you the outcome of that engagement? Let's just say that Wagner would never, ever move on American forces again. You talk about warheads on foreheads. We're talking maybe 5 warheads per forehead. It was insane. If I'm not mistaken, it was a Special Forces A team, and they had some support elements there. Might have been some Rangers on the ground, but they had some artillery support. They had mortar teams, but that superior firepower, bro, F-18s and Apaches, and the Wagner guys who were actually moving on the Americans. Well, they'll never do it again. There's plenty of videos about that. If you guys want to watch, there's plenty of videos about that. So, but yeah, they were protecting the oil. But Trump did say we're taking the oil. So you see, when you're dealing with someone like a Donald Trump on a Fox interview where the news correspondent is trying to correct him, we're not taking it. Are we? Wink, wink. We're not taking it. And he's like, well, maybe we should. Like I say, man, you got to pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention, bro. And those Wagner guys got wiped out, bro. It was crazy. If you guys want to see, if you want me to do a show on that, let me know. Put it in the comments and we can do it. We can definitely do it. There's some really cool videos out there about what happened. and it just them boys didn't stand a chance. In fact, and Wagner is like their version of like it's a sanctioned mercenary group, right? This is the Russians. This is the reason they were able to be so effective in Ukraine. They Putin had to rely on Wagner, and they're actually the government of Russia actually sanctioned medals for the guys who survived this engagement, and they gave them medals, and them dudes talk about it like leave America alone. And I keep telling folks, bro, no nation on planet Earth can stand against America militarily. No nation will do it. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense, right? You got these factions that'll do it, but no nation will do it.
I said that, there would have been a massive outcry. Trump said it was just a random Tuesday. He's like, yeah, we're occupying a third of Syria because I'm stealing the oil. Duh.
Right.
You moron, that doesn't make you anti-war. That makes you a massive, colossal imperialist plundering other countries for their treasure. Are you out of your mind? This is insane. This is insane.
It is insane. So that's just a taste of what's going on in the Middle East, guys. I don't want to expand too much on it. I had one loaded up, a news broadcast about the Israelis moving on the Syrian Navy and how they did that. Maybe I'll come back. I'll follow up on this later on in the week, or maybe we'll do a part 2 to this, what's going on in the Middle East next Thursday. But I didn't want to spend too much time on this, man. I just want to give you guys an idea of what's going on. The Middle East is always going to be a problem. It's messy. It's going to always be messy. Then you look at what's going on with Ukraine. And the fact that we got a new president coming in does not mean that all this stuff is going to be fixed magically, right? And think about it. Here in America, domestically, inflation is up, guys. Inflation is going, I think it's up to 2.7%. The goal is 2%. It's climbing. Goods and services are going up. Insurance is going up. We're going to be talking about that. But before we do, let's get into the CEO shooter thing, bro. The CEO shooter. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Bill Burr and Joe Rogan and some other folks have a lot to say about the CEO shooter thing, which I said this from the beginning, man. I understand it. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with the tactics. I don't agree with the way that this shooter did his thing, but I understand the frustration. I understand why someone would do something like this, right? And what gets me is mainstream media seems to be completely off track on this thing. Like they can't compute in their head why someone would do such a thing. Why are so many Americans upset with the CEO types, especially these people in these healthcare industries? Why are they mad? They can't seem to understand that. So we got a couple videos lined up. This is from CNN, and this really highlights how some of the people, some of the talking heads, you could tell like more affluent, closer to the top of the 1%ers, just traditional folks. And they're sitting there saying what they're saying. And there's people at the tables like, you can tell the people who actually got it from the mud, brought themselves up from the bottom. They're like, bro, can't you see what's going on here? Can't you understand why that, people are so frustrated and why they would be okay with someone taking such a drastic measure? Brother GMC Hammer's like, yo, quick question in regards to Trump bringing Doge, and Doge guys, the Department of Government Efficiency. Do you think they're going to touch the FAA? Yes, I think they're going to touch the FAA, but I think it's going to be touched in a way that, when the next contract comes up for air traffic controllers, for instance, that contract is going to get frozen. They're going to try to cut pay, which is a bad idea. You've already got controllers who are overworked. Money becomes a non-issue when you can't enjoy it. These guys, these men and women are so stressed out at the top. The new people coming in, they're like, good, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, they're ready, but they got to get trained and all that. So it's a big mess. I think they're going to touch spending as far as every year the facilities get a budget. If they don't use that budget, they got to, spend the money on something, or they don't get it the following year. So what they do is they go out and buy a bunch of desks and chairs and just random stuff just so they can make sure they spend their allotment so they get that same amount the next year. I think what may happen is maybe people will go through there and start making cuts like, okay, you only really spent 80% of your allotted budget on ATC related stuff that's needed. The other 20% was just waste. So we're gonna cut your budget by 20%. They could do that. All drops in the bucket. I think the FAA will definitely be on the chopping block as far as where they can trim. The VA, I think the VA is going to take some serious hits. Stuff like that. I don't think they're going to touch Department of Defense, but they might touch research. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of this talk, man, about those, we'll see, bro. But the FAA, they need air traffic controllers. So while this fight jumps off, if it becomes a fight, those controllers who get in are going to be getting paid. You're not going to lose money as an air traffic controller. You might not be getting training, but you'll be sitting back just making money, working overtime, and you're only halfway qualified. And that's the sweet spot. That's the sweet spot, bro. You got your pre-employment stuff sent to me. Great. I would definitely get in the FAA if I could, bro. I would definitely get into the FAA. It's FAA goes through this. Whenever there's a change in administration, it goes from Republican to Democrat to Republican. There's always going to be a little something, but we need air traffic controllers. Like we need firemen, right? We need those people who fight forest fires. We need these sort of things, right? So they can only cut so much. They're not going to really. What they would do is we need to cut back on overtime. Like, well, in order to cut back on overtime, we need more air traffic controllers. And it's like, so go hire more, but then we need to expand training. So there's no way to cut the FAA and not have an immediate negative effect. They need these people, bro. So I would definitely continue with that, man. Get that under your belt. Get that training, all that good stuff, man. Get all that good stuff, bro. So yeah, let's talk about this, the CEO shooter. Let's listen to what these talking heads had to say. We're going to start with Bill Burr, was absolutely one of my favorite comics. You guys know that. We're going to start with what Bill Burr was saying, and then we're going to listen to what the CNN talking heads had to say about it.
I was going to read an article, guy. They go, "Oh my God, he's such a great guy. He had a wife and kids, and he's such a great guy." And then you find out he and the other guys he's working for are getting sued for $121 million for dumping a stock and not letting the other people know. It's like, there's your motive. What is more heartless than a CEO of a corporation? The decision in healthcare, the decisions that they make. This is the thing. I'm not saying what happened should have happened, but I'm just, for them to be like, oh, this is like, why would anybody want to do this? It's like they're denying claims and people are dying.
So this is very common kind of armchair analysis. John, your eyebrow is like up to here. I mean, you can't tell me you haven't heard something like this in the last couple of days.
No, look, I mean, there's plenty of anger and frustration in insurance companies, but do not lionize murderers or elevate psychotic screeds into a manifesto. This is insane. Don't make a folk hero out of this cat. He assassinated a CEO going to a thing. And you got a problem with the way insurance companies do business. There are a lot of righteous ways to handle it within the legal structure.
And I want
but
anyone else to...
And like, see right off the rip, you got this guy, this guy was a former elected official and all that, you definitely know where he is in the spectrum, bro. Like, he's closer to the 1% than we are. And he's like, saying all these things. If you got a problem with the medicals, our medical system here, if you got a problem with these companies, take them to court. Do you really believe you stand a chance in any court in America going against that type of entity, going against, a healthcare company? They're massive. You don't stand a chance. You know how much money you need to do that? You don't stand a chance. So right away, the assumption is that Americans aren't doing that. Americans aren't going out there and saying, hey, this is what's going on, putting it out there to a court of law, and the court is just telling them no, slamming the gavel down and like, get out of here. Or, even if you do have a legit case, the court is just like, well, 20 million is excessive for the loss of life and suffering and pain and suffering you've endured. So we'll give you, $20,000, slam the gavel down, right? Who won? The corporations won. The corporation always win. When you go into a courtroom, bro, you are not going to win unless you're walking in there with money. If you're a billionaire, you might be able to get some justice. So nah, man, he's way off on that in my opinion. Way off.
Playing a little bit footsie with elevating this cat, and he doesn't deserve it.
Do you think he's but he's not being elevated by any particular thing. It's like the general internet. There's one voice you can point to saying you're the one who's turned him into a hero.
I mean, there's plenty of voices. You can go on the internet right now and find all manner of people who are lionizing this person or fetishizing him sexually or so on and so forth.
But I mean, mainstream media, like, I don't think the mainstream media is doing erotic fan fiction of this guy. Like, that is the thing that's happening.
Somebody who was trusted by the mainstream media just as soon as a few months ago, Taylor Lorenz was out there saying she felt joy when she heard about this. I mean, I agree with John. I think there's a culture in the United States right now that just doesn't, there's no respect for
there's no respect
laws. There's no respect for there's no respect for life. There's no respect for our cultural norms, and people believe that they should be able to take matters into their own hands. It's pretty.
Come on, America's always been this way. Think about the Wild West. Think about how we got this country in the first place. He's sitting there saying that Americans don't have respect for life or whatever they're going to take. The whole point of this is that the corporations are allowing people to die by refusing them coverage, refusing them the money that they need to save themselves. That's what it all boils down to. And it's not as if somebody just popped up one day and just started, oh, no, I'm just going to go get this guy. No, this has been going on for generations. It's been getting worse and worse over the past, 20, 30 years, to the point where it's insane now. The vast majority of Americans who've lost their wealth, who've lost everything, who's gone bankrupt, has gone bankrupt over this sort of thing, right? You're paying monthly for services forever, and then you finally need the service. You finally need what you've been paying for, and they say, no, you can't have it. And then you go to court and you lose. You go to court, there is no recourse, and everyone knows that the corporations are wrong. They are making money on the pain and suffering of folks. The corporations don't seem to care that these people are dying. These people are in pain. But we're supposed to care, like a lot of people, and this isn't me speaking, this is just, the anger and the frustration from the general public. Like, oh, we supposed to care about dude? That's the dude who's taking money from people who need it most when they need it most. And he doesn't seem to care about their suffering. He doesn't seem to care about them, leaving us, being deleted. Doesn't seem to care. All he cares is he got his budget. He's got his bonuses. That's wrong. That's the problem. And you got the first two dudes who are talking to, like, you see what I mean? I'm like, you can't see this, bro. You're talking about this guy's like, whoa, this is the moral high ground and right and wrong. Like, you just can't be a vigilante. What? That's what America's based on. Dirty Harry, breaking the rules. You look at all the characters that Arnold Schwarzenegger done played, like in the Commando and stuff like that. You look at, the Punisher. You look at Death Wish, Charles Bronson. For you young people, look up Death Wish. Man, it was crazy. Charles Bronson just went out there and was just icing people, right? Because they attacked him and hurt his family. Just sitting out there waiting on folks, waiting for people to attack him so he can ice them. That's always been America's narrative. Always. And it probably always will be. Right? The guys wearing the white hats are good. The guys wearing the black hats are bad. And who's wearing the white hat in this one? And who's wearing the black hat in this one? Depends on who you ask. Right? You ask the average American, it's like, yeah, these CEOs who are running these medical companies and are hurting Americans, they're wearing black hats, right? I'm just letting you know. And if somebody does something to those people, ain't nobody gonna cry over that except for that person's family.
Pretty ugly.
I think it works on always. I think it works on both sides. I think it works in this country in general. You said before we even got into this conversation, the internet is consistent. It's consistent with people who have things to say, but really have nothing to say. And their opinions really don't matter. I think
Hey, girl.
Holla, 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 holla. Something's really interesting about, not even interesting. Did anybody see that movie, The Rainmaker? Did you guys ever see that movie back in the day, 1997?
Sort of lawyer, hero lawyer.
John Grisham. And it was not necessarily similar to this, but the lawyer was Matt Damon, and he was suing a big insurance company because they kept denying a claim. And in this particular case, the young kid died and he had cancer, but his mom kept trying to fight the big insurance company, and they won in the end. And I heard you earlier today just a moment ago say, there are ways to go about this. For people who feel frustrated, and I'm not excusing Luigi at all, but I don't know if anyone feels like there are any legal ways to go about it. And I'm still unclear on what his actual motive is. He comes from this wealthy family. He had a back issue. We're hearing all of these different issues. And I'm like, what was he really trying to do and say? Not that we need to try to understand
that's my point.
Right. So here's a sister and I hit the holla holla button because she kind of cute. Here's the sister who she comes from a world where she gets the pain and suffering. She probably, I'm guessing here, I doubt if she comes from a wealthy family. She might. I don't know anything about this woman, but from just listening to her talk, she at least she's sympathetic to those people out here who are stuck with the short end of the stick, and they are forced to deal with this stuff, man. Because think about that. Like, and she cited a movie, and like, well, in the movie, the woman kept fighting the corporation, and she won in the end. Well, that's Hollywood magic, because most people ain't gonna win. Most people are not gonna go into a courtroom and win unless you got big money on your side. You're not gonna go into a courtroom and defeat some corporate juggernaut. It's not gonna happen, right? I hate to be the one to tell you, right? Is we red pill over here. Right? You want to see the code? The code is, bro, you ain't big enough. Your pockets ain't deep enough, man. You ain't gonna do it. You ain't gonna win. Even if you're right, you're not gonna win. And we're programmed to believe that good triumphs overall. That's not how it works in the real world. Good does not always triumph. In fact, there are some out there that will argue that evil triumphs more than good in today's society. You know, when it comes to money, when it comes to bonuses, when it comes to this sort of thing. Right. But you got the two guys who are like fighting, and there's one dude like, don't even say his name. You can say his name if you want to. I'll call him the shooter, but you can call him Luigi.
Wait, where are we at with him? What's going on with him? Who is he really? He's 26 years old. He graduated from an Ivy League college. His family has money. What exactly was his real motive? And I don't want to make it seem like we are trying to lionize him as a hero.
I think that's kind of what we're walking up towards here, though, right? We're trying to say, you know, what was really the motive behind this? Sometimes it's just, you know, crazy as crazy does, but with a gun it gets worse. But you know, there are right ways. We got a lot of issues in our country around corporations that don't seem to care about the little guy. We got a lot of issues with income inequality, but they're not solved by people writing manifestos, using a gun to murder a private citizen. And then all of a sudden people trying to get inside their head and figure out what the noble motive is or what particular thread he's pulling on the Unabomber's manifesto to make a consistent case against capitalism.
There's never an excuse.
But here's the thing, though. It won't get solved, but people will start paying attention, won't they? That's just the bottom line. They'll start paying attention. Right? So, you know, I got a story for you.
Everybody sit down, please. It's story time. It's story time.
I got a story for you. So I'm in high school. I'm in the high school jazz band, and it was a public school, right? We're in an inner city school, whatever. So the band would have to go do performances, and we would do like corporate performances, and the corporations would send money to the school, right? So I played the alto saxophone. I was pretty good back then. And, you know, at the time, I was the number 2 seed. There was a guy way better than me. I was learning from him, Ron Brown. Shout out to him. He wound up joining the Marine Corps as a saxophonist. Crazy. But he got a full scholarship. He got some sort of scholarship to join the Marine Corps, and as a Marine Corps musician. So we're down, you know, we're out of school for the whole day. The jazz band, we're performing for Procter & Gamble, doing our thing. I come back to school. My lock has been removed from my locker. You know, there's a bunch of lockers whose locks were cut off, and their locker doors were open. My door wasn't open. Thank goodness. I didn't have anything too valuable in there, but it was my stuff. What I had in there was valuable to me. But luckily, the crew that I ran with, you know, I kicked it with savages, man. I kicked it with the berserkers. Everyone knew I was my locker. No one wanted to smoke. The locker was cool. But you know, my homeboys like, yeah, we kept our eyes on it or whatever. We let everybody know, don't touch that. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. So like, shout out to my guys. And we didn't have phones, so it wasn't like you were getting instant information back then, right? We do our thing. We came back. So I go upstairs to the administration. I go up to the guys in charge of security. I think his name was Mr. Hicks. You know, Mr. Hicks was known for being an asshole, right? I go up to Mr. Hicks. I'm like, hey, man, this is what happened. Someone cut, you know, lock off or whatever. What's going on? And he said, he looked at me as if I didn't matter. He's like, I did it. I'm like, you did it? That was not an authorized location for that locker. He's saying some stuff. I'm like, you just can't go around arbitrarily cutting people locks off. I'm a junior at this time in high school. I'm like, bro, you got to give some sort of notice, some sort of notification. You didn't say nothing. I got permission from the teacher who is in charge of that role. I'm authorized to be there. You owe me a lock. And dude said something to me. And he was trying to get fly, and he turned his back on me, right? Because I'm telling him, like, I'm trying to be calm. I was like, come on, now, you can't do that. You know, you owe me a lock. It wasn't like, I was like, you know, you guys should have to replace that lock. That's just not fair. I was gone with the band doing stuff for the school on the school's behalf. You know, there was no notification, blah, blah, blah. He said something, flying, turned his back and walked away. As he's walking away, that's when I turned it all the way up. You see, I was doing it the right way. I was playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. I was acting like I had some sense. And he had all the authority. So he thought, and he just was going to do nothing. He was basically like, F you. So I turned up. I turned up. I let it right there in the main hall, main lobby of the school. I turned up. He turns around and comes at me aggressive. The dude's bigger than me, man. I didn't care, bro. He came at me aggressively, and then the vice principal came out. She said, what's going on? Because I turned up, and it was about to get ugly, bro. It was probably going to be a riot. We had riots at our school all the time, right there in that hallway, all the time. And it sparked like that. It could be just something real small, just spark it, and boom. Next thing you know, you got 200 kids in there just going ham. I knew what I was doing. Vice principal comes up. She's like, yo, what's going on? I told her, this is what happened. This is where I was performing for the school. I come back, my locks cut off. I talked to him about it, and he told me he did it, and he just being extremely disrespectful. I believe the school owes me a lot. She took me to her office. Like, go to your office, because I was cursing and everything. She's like, go to my office. She said something to him, the administrator. She was the boss. She said something to him. He went to his office. She came into her office, and she was like, look, just calm down, baby. Real nice. Miss Schroff. Schroff? What was her name? I think it was Schroff. I can't remember. I'm probably mispronouncing her name, but she was very, very nice. She gave me like $10. She told me to go across the street to the grocery store, buy another lock, put it on that same locker that you had. Like, that's your locker. You good for the year. And I'll make sure that the school takes responsibility for what he did. And sure enough, there was a big series of meetings they had, like in the auditorium. They had people coming in, had assemblies, and he had to explain to the whole school what he did. He had to apologize, and the school paid for all the locks that were cut off that day. And the only reason we got to that point is because I turned up. That's the only reason that we got to that point. Right? That's the only reason we got to that point. I turned up. And that's what's going on with this guy, the CEO shooter. And you got other people out here, man. They're turning up. There's like, that's it. There's no other recourse. There's nothing we can do. We tried to do about it. We tried to follow the rules. We tried to go by the book. We went to the courts, and y'all all acting like we don't exist. Y'all don't care. Y'all taking the money. Bet. They turned up. And instead of talking about that, they're talking about, you shouldn't be idolizing this guy. He shouldn't have gotten a weapon and all this kind of stuff. I'm surprised. And it's the right that's saying this. There's more of the people who are center right there saying this. They stopped short of any kind of gun control, which I believe in the Second Amendment. I don't control nothing. And in this case, this dude 3D printed this weapon. This weapon was off the books anyway. This is what I'm always telling people. There are more guns in America than there are people. We know the guns that we know of outnumber Americans. And then there are ghost guns out there. They don't know how many ghost guns are out there. They have no idea how many ghost guns were made off the books. No serial numbers, nothing. They have no idea. It's nothing. There's way more guns in this country than people. I like it like that. But they're not talking about why this guy did what he did, the frustration behind it. None of that. They're just talking about, we don't want any copycats and this and that and da. Why is that? Because the 1% is leaning on them. Bro, we put you in office. Bro, we paying you with these think tanks or whatever. You better protect us. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. We see we see Ty Dodge in there like Free Luigi. Hey, people need to understand that there's a serious frustration with the vast majority of Americans, right? Quit being greedy. 1%. Right? DMX had a song about that. Quit being greedy, times rough, give to the needy or something like that. Better give it to him and snatch the plate. I can't think of it right now, but it'll come to me. I think I've been bleeding long enough now. Stop being greedy. Something like that. You guys figure it out. It's a DMX song on his first album. He talks about it. This is where America is right now. I'll find that song and I'll put it in the comments so you guys can listen to it later. People are frustrated. Let's continue.
For what he did, period. And I think when you see people online and in the media defending what he did as a result of their sentiment about large corporations, as a result of how they feel about the healthcare industry as a whole, I think that's a major problem. But it's not something that just started today. We've been seeing this go on, I think, for a very, very long time. And it's not the first time, and I'm sure Geraldo can speak to this, looking back to some of the cases from a decade or more ago, when we see people praise murderers, people like Jodi Arias, where they look at these murderers, they create fan clubs for them. And we're starting to see that already with Luigi Mangione being a physically attractive young man. And you see these women on TikTok and other places that are praising him because of what he looks like. And it's
even
but
that,
a lot of young women are posting that.
That's reasonable, I think. You want to dig the guy's six-pack, that's fine. But you fall into a trap when you get into the substance of his beef.
That's it.
Now he's succeeded. So now he's pulled us in. Now the focus is not on Luigi, it's on Thompson. It's on the victim and what the victim does and what the victim has done, with the deny and defund.
Do you think they should release this manifesto?
Oh, yeah, I don't.
Absolutely. How can you believe in free speech, but you don't want to release his manifesto? Just kind of like on this platform. You got to be careful what you say. Can't say some words, but America's all about free speech. How is that? Remember the Liberty, man. You know what? A lot of Americans have no idea what you're talking about. I remember the Liberty, and America definitely handled that wrong, right? We should have got after. We should have, listen. For those who don't know, the USS Liberty was attacked by the Israeli Defense Forces. When was this, man? It was like the 80s, early 80s, late 70s, somewhere in there. I don't think there were any fatalities on the American side, but sailors there were casualties and sailors were hurt. The Israelis knew it was an American ship. The Israelis knew what they were doing. They attacked us. Now, the American government brushed it all under the rug. I don't know what they did to those sailors and those Marines who were hurt. They probably compensated them in some sort of special package via the VA or something like that. But there's no way in hell that I would sit idly by and let anyone attack America. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of ally you are to our country. There's no way I'm going to sit back and let you attack one of our ships, knowingly attack our ships. So what I would have done, first thing I would have done, I would have sank 2 Israeli destroyers. Now, I would have gave them 2 more destroyers. I would have replaced them, but I would have sank 2 Israeli destroyers. I would have shot down a couple of Israeli fighters if I had to. Now, been more of a tall task because Israeli fighter pilots are really good. But if those Israeli fighter pilots try to engage us, we shoot them down. Right. And I would demand the Israelis give me the commander or whoever gave the order to attack our ship and put them in prison for the rest of their life. That would have been bare bones minimum. Bare bones minimum. And then I would have told the Israelis, of course, backstage, I wouldn't say it in front of everybody. I wouldn't say it on camera, but, off camera, I said, hey, y'all ever do anything like that again, we're pulling all of our support. We're taking all of our weapons, all of our bombs, all of our Band-Aids, all of our bullets, and we're going to let you deal with these people on your own. Right? And then I will let Egypt and Syria and Lebanon and Jordan, let them know they ain't with us no more. That's what I would have done. I would have had people, you don't get to do that. You don't get to attack America. You don't get to do that. I don't care who you are. You don't get to do that. That's what I would have done. So people, y'all need to look that up too. Look up the Liberty, USS Liberty. They should not have. I guess I'm a warmonger. Airborne.
Because some of the other shootings we've had in this country and other places, we still don't know anything about the person who shot at Trump. We still don't know much about the person who committed that atrocity at the Christian school in Nashville. There's a lot of shootings.
The Las Vegas mass shooting, we know nothing about.
There's a lot of things we are hidden from us. And then this guy, Geraldo, shoots, and we know more in 5 minutes about him than we know about all these other people. And I wonder why that is.
But the manifesto, remember, was released before we had the perpetrator. So you have the manifesto. That's how they got the Unabomber. The brother reads the manifesto, recognizes the brother's style of, Harvard.
But there's a protocol generally.
Hold on 1 second.
And I didn't know that, bro. I didn't know we lost 34 sailors, bro. I didn't know that. I thought there were casualties. I didn't know there were fatalities. I would have taken out 3 or 4 of their assets. I probably would have taken out 3. I would have taken out some of their fast boats. They would have had to pay for that, bro. And thank you, Charles. Thank you so much, Charles Dean, for pointing that out. I didn't know that part, bro. I didn't know that part. You know, so thank you for that, bro. Thank you for that clarification. This is why I like this podcast, man. This is why I like doing what I do, because I learn. We get to talk to each other and we get to learn, man. And it's just us having a conversation. Right? It's us having a conversation, man. And I'm not calling for violence or anything like that. I'm just, that happened in the past. If I were commander in chief, I would have acted a certain way. You don't get to attack U.S. military assets. You do not get to attack U.S. Men and women who serve, service members. You don't get to do that and don't get nothing in return. You don't get to do that. You just don't get to do that. 170 wounded, man. That's a lot. That's a pretty high casualty count for a peacetime operation. Apparently they just crossed over the IDF line of whatever. It was an American vessel. So maybe I'm gonna do a show on that, man. I'm gonna have to do a show on that. I did not know that sailors were lost. 34 U.S. sailors were KIA. I didn't know that, bro. I did not know that. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do it. I'm definitely gonna do a show on that. I'm gonna do a show on the Liberty, bro. We're gonna have to do it.
Let me jump in here. I'm really glad you brought that up because David Kaczynski has been quoted. Someone reached out to him to say, how do you feel about this idea that he's alluding to your late brother's comments? And he basically said, it gives me a great deal of personal pain to think my brother's actions have in any way contributed to influencing a man like this to kill an innocent human being. I bring this up because I can't think of anything with kind of a longer legacy and tail on the dark corners of the internet than the Unabomber's Manifesto, which many shooters across various political ideologies have cited or are in that world, who still quote from it and still read it.
But no, I mean, there are people who take dark inspiration from Columbine. Look, generally there's a protocol around mass shootings, right? We just call them the shooter. Second of it, we don't publish the manifesto for reasons of elevation. Now, if manifestos are outlined, particularly in some mass shootings where there's something that's already out there, then, you can read it, but you don't elevate it. You don't.
But Scott just made a point where he said, "How come there's ones we don't know?" And you said it with this kind of question mark, right?
But there are
the
things about this story that feel very auspicious, and so people are attracted to it. I'm not saying that it's the media's fault. That's so easy, but everyone started. Oh wait, who was this guy? Is he attractive? He pulled down his mouth. There were all these little breadcrumbs, and it makes it feel like we're elevating this guy, but we're not. Well, this isn't a typical, and I don't want to say a typical shooting. I don't want to say anything like that. But this story, for whatever reasons, hit home for a lot of people, for better or for worse. We're not suggesting that this guy is great for what he did, but it just did. My best friend tells a story about when her father got dementia at the top of COVID. She had to literally fight tooth and nail day and night for weeks so that they would not deny his claim. So she's interested in it. People are interested because this is something that is happening. Not excusing it. It has nothing to do with the assassination. It has nothing to do with the assassination. We're not giving him substance, but we are talking about something that people are interested in. And if you can't deny the healthcare is an issue in this country.
I'm not denying that at all. I'm just saying that we're walking right up the line.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult.
Right there. I wanted to give her a Don DeMarco for that part right there. Shout out to the sister. Don DeMarco. That's the whole thing. He did what he did. I don't agree with it. Ambushing someone, shooting him in the back like that. I don't agree with that. Well, shot him in the back of the leg and we turned around, hit him in the chest. However, it's time to have a conversation about our healthcare industry. And guess what? There are reports out there that allegedly some of these corporations, I think it was Aetna, maybe it was Blue Cross and Blue Shield. One of them was saying that they were going to begin to charge the customer to pay for anesthesia over a certain amount of time. So let's say you go into a procedure and they anticipate this is going to be a 2-hour procedure. They get in there and the procedure takes 3 hours. So what they were proposing is, okay, your insurance would pay for the first 2 hours of the anesthesia. And then that 3rd hour, you're going to have to pay on your own. There was allegedly what was going on. This was what they were proposing this allegedly. And of course, after this thing happened with the CEO getting clipped, oh, that went away. That went away. Now, again, we should be able just to come to the table and send our elected officials to say, hey, man, we need universal health care, even if it's a single payer system. We need something because this is getting out of hand. These corporations are gouging, and while they're gouging for all this money, Americans are hurting, Americans are dying. We've been trying to do that for how long? And no one wants to really listen. Now everybody's paying attention. Everybody's paying attention. And you got some guys out here like, well, we shouldn't elevate this guy to hero status. Man, you don't even want talking about, dude. We're trying to talk about the healthcare system. This sister gave an example of how the healthcare system, failed her friend. JD Vance was on, he was on someone's podcast, man. What's the dude with the mullet? I forget his name. But JD Vance was on Old Boy's podcast. One of the Rogan guys, Theo Von. JD Vance was on Theo Von's podcast. JD Vance told his story. He said, listen, my wife and I were in the hospital having our second, I think it was their second kid, right? And, his wife wanted to get the painkillers because, having a baby, extremely painful. Get it. It's like, I don't want to deal with that. So she picked a doctor to administer this medicine, the pain meds or whatever, during her birth that was outside of the system, right? You have in plan and outside the plan, or whether in the system, outside the system. So she makes up her mind like, I'm gonna need some painkiller. I want this person. They get that person. They come in, they do the procedure. Everything works. Baby is born, no problem. They home now with the baby. Everything is great. They get a bill for $15,000, right? And this is JD Vance and his wife. They get a bill for $15,000 because his wife chose a provider who's outside of the system, outside of their healthcare system. Now, JD Vance was like, yeah, no problem. We paid it, right? He's like, we have it. And he wasn't tripping. He was like, look, we have the resources. We paid it. But how many Americans can do that? You make this decision. You look in this book. No one tells you that's outside the service. And this is how much it's going to cost you if you use that person and then you sign off on that. They don't do that. They just do it. $15,000 bill, right? The average American household is right around $100,000 a year, right? Give or take 15 grand. That's it. Your budget's blown. Where that money gonna come from? That's credit card, right? And that might be 2-3 of your credit cards. Now you're maxed out, right? Negative. That's a negative hit on your credit. That's a negative hit on your ability to get more credit. Right, tie that into the increase in cost of living. Like, bro, that's it. You're on the fall. $15,000 because you chose the wrong. Why was that person even part of your choices? You should only be presented with in-network choices. Something as simple as that could be the law. But now they want the money. They want the money.
For people to start talking so heavily about healthcare now, when 2 weeks ago nobody was doing that, or most people in the media weren't doing that, and so it feels a little bit difficult.
Because Luigi has succeeded.
Exactly.
Well, stop calling Luigi the shooter, right? I mean,
his name is Luigi. Say his name.
Respect, but I mean, like, look, we should be talking. People are
like
pissed
saying
off,
Luigi,
and who doesn't? In fairness, but people are really frustrated at the cost of insurance and how it adds to the affordability crisis in their daily lives. That's something we should be talking about.
But we shouldn't wait till someone gets
we can talk about
murdered to be talking about it. That's the problem I have.
And we certainly shouldn't talk about him as a vehicle for a larger civic conversation. He's a murderer.
Let's get to this Bill Belichick news.
Right. So there's one guy like, don't say his name, just don't, whatever. Man, say his name. I'll say the guy's name. Let's see. GMC Amber was asking me about SF special forces being used to combat the cartel. Here's the thing about special forces in the United States military, bro. They're going to do what they do. You'll never know. You'll never know. Right. You talking about special forces like, well, which wing? You talking about Green Berets? That's not a Green Beret mission. Like you're going to send Green Berets down to, do some counter warfare against the cartels in Mexico. That's not the Green Berets' job. That's probably more of a Ranger thing if you wanted to do it, but Rangers are very loud and they do what they do and they don't care who knows, right? People always say we could send in Navy SEALs. Bro, they did a movie. Harrison Ford did a movie called Clear and Present Danger, based on the Tom Clancy book. It's a pretty good movie. You want to watch that movie. In that movie, they used the CIA went out and put together their own team. They went and got an A team off the books mission down in Central America somewhere, and they were, fighting the drug guys. The A-Team was in the woods doing their thing. The movie was the tactics and all that was pretty cool. It was kind of believable. They had a sniper in there that was like, they went and recruited this sniper. It was one of those like off the books type missions. It's worth watching or reading. If you want to read the book, it's worth reading the book. It kind of talks how American politicians just throw away people because they're just trying to do their thing and get where they want to go. So, but anyway, as far as using, if America decided to use special forces assets against the cartels or anyone else, you would never know. So it's not even worth thinking about because you would never know. Those guys will be down there. It'll all be Latino dudes. They wouldn't have any, American identification marks. They wouldn't have any, anything that identifies them as, U.S. Special Forces. The worst case scenario, people would think they were mercenaries. But you don't have to send U.S. forces down there to deal with the cartels. I mean, some of them cartels were trained by the U.S. military. But all you have to do is work with the Mexican government. Again, it boils down to money. Work with the Mexican government, get your people, get your dark army people involved, right? Get the CIA involved, and you'll be able to do what you want to do. Look at what they did in Sicario. Just do that. Right? You might have something along those lines, if you guys have seen Sicario, check that out. But no matter whatever America decides to do with the military, that type of stuff, you wouldn't hear about it. You wouldn't, especially if they're not operating on U.S. soil. They're in some faraway land somewhere or not so far away land doing America's business. You'll never hear about it. So it really doesn't work most about it. And Brother Charles, man, I'm not much on that Zionist stuff. I'm not that guy. I've been in the world, and I know who runs the world, and they're not Jewish. I don't know where this comes from. A lot of people talk about this thing about the Jews, bro. The Jews are not nearly as powerful as people make them out to be. I'm just keeping it 100 with you, fam. Right? But the Rockefellers are powerful, right? The Kennedys are still a powerful family. The Vanderbilts are powerful. You know what I mean? Like there's the old money out there. They spend a lot of their resources to keep us in the dark. The people who really run this planet don't want you to know it. There's the real money out there, right? There's real money out there. And I'm here to tell you, it's not the Jews, bro. Right? I'm here to tell you. Hey, a lot of people talking about that Zionist stuff. Like, I ain't on board with that. It ain't them. It ain't them, right? I've seen the people who run this, bro. And they're all descendants from the monarchs of old. They ain't gone nowhere. Those names are still out there, man. The Rothschilds, those names are still out there. These are the people who run the world. They still run the world. They've always run the world. Right? So I'm just going to throw that out there for you, fam. I'm just going to throw that out there for you. That's my thing, bro. And I could be wrong on the whole Zionist thing. Whenever I see Zionist, and do me a favor, somebody shoot me the definition of Zionist, because whenever I see that, I always relate that to being like anti-Semitic stuff, Zionists being like, Jews and all that kind of stuff. So please set me straight, because I might be wrong. Set me straight. Someone please in the chat just put the definition of Zionist in the chat for me, because I don't have time to look it up right now. Like my phone is over there. I have to get up and go get my phone and look it up. I just want to make sure I'm on there. Pablo, I was a member of Kaiser as well, bro. When I had my kids out, my daughter, Kaiser was perfect. Kaiser was perfect. We got Brother Mandrell in the building, man. Did I show you some love, man? Speaking of special forces, and look at him, Brother Mandrell. There you go. There's your question. There's your answer right there, bro. Like, we're already there, and we've been there for years, right? Again, you will never know what SF is doing, and SF being the Green Berets. You'll never know what American special forces are doing on planet Earth, bro. Their job is to get in and get out, right? The United States, the Green Berets, their job is to destabilize nations, bro. They stack countries. The Rangers, they stack bodies. SEAL stock, they stack bodies. MARSOC, you know what I mean? Bodies. Our special forces apparatus, bro, like the Green Berets, you send 12 of them into some country and they turn the country around. They turn the country inside out and then they leave, right? Check out the fat electrician when he talks about the Green Berets and what they do, bro. They're like Dr. Grunts is what he calls them, man. I'm telling you, check out the fat electrician, right? Like, it is what it is. CPAC controls Congress. Yeah, the 1% controls CPAC. Like, who really controls Congress? People with the money, man. On both sides, man. You got people like the Kochs and you got people like the Sabans out there, bro. You got money on both sides, man. They're going to secure their interests. Elon Musk just invested $250 million allegedly in this campaign with Trump. You definitely understand he's definitely going to get a return. You know what I mean? Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I get Jews and yeah. So, you know, and as far as Bible and all that kind of stuff, man, yeah, you know, believe what you want to believe, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. After learning about the Anunnaki, man, I don't know. I don't know about these Bible stories anymore, bro. We're gonna be talking about that too next week, man. I don't know. I'm looking at this Anunnaki thing, bro. It might be something going on, right? Yeah, you know, we might be descendants of somebody from out there. I mean, the story is crazy, but it's no crazier than you know, the greatest story ever told. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that too as well, bro. Like I said, we're gonna keep it going. And I appreciate you, Todd and Brother Charles, man. I'm so glad you guys are here. Appreciate you guys coming through. Nah, man, Joe, I'm not dropping a link. I gotta go. I got a show I gotta do. So I gotta get out of here. I got at least one more video we gotta get through, and I gotta go prepare for it. We got a comedy show tonight. But Mandrell, I'm gonna hit you up, bro. Let's get you on. Let's do a show. Let's get you on here, bro. Let's definitely get you on here, man. It's definitely been it's been a time. And get tired, yo. The Jews do not run the world, bro. Here to tell you, trust me when I tell you, the Jews don't run the world, homie. Right? Unless the Rothschilds are Jewish, unless the Vanderbilts are Jewish, right? Unless the Heinz, family is Jewish. I'm just here to tell you, bro. I'm just letting you know, man. I'm just letting you know, fam. Like, you might want to rethink that. And don't take my word for it, man. Get your passport out, man. Go travel. Go to Europe, man. Go to old Europe and start talking to folks, man. You want to find out who runs the world? Man, go over there and see what's going on. Go to the Vatican, bro. You want to see who runs the world? Look how the Vatican is getting down. That's just my take on it. Charles is like, they are. I don't agree. You know what I mean? I don't agree that the Jews are running the world. I think that the 1% owns our political process over here. The 1% owns Congress. I don't think there's any doubt. But then when you look at the world picture, you know what I mean? There's old money out there, man. There's real old money out there doing it, bro. It's not as simple as saying, oh, that group of people over there is responsible. The Jews ain't powerful enough, bro. If anything, they're patsies. If you ask me, they're patsies. I don't put it on them, right? I just don't. I look at, if they were that powerful, why is it then that they haven't wiped out all their enemies in the Middle East? If they were that powerful, those people would be gone. All that'd be gone. That'd be all their land. If they were that powerful. Look at Europe. Look at America. Right? Look at how, like who the colonizers are the ones that got all the power, if you ask me, bro. I'm just saying, if you ask me, bro, that's just where I'm at with it. But it's just too simple to just, we're gonna pick this group right here and blame everything on them. Nah. Look at the top 100 people, top 100 wealthiest people on the planet, bro. Look at that. And tell me how many of them people are Jewish. Anyway, y'all got me off my thing, man. We got one more thing to talk about, bro. We're gonna go to breaking points. Breaking Points was talking about Rogan and Bill Burr. They had stuff to say about the shooter and the healthcare crisis. Hopefully we can get through this, and I'm gonna have to shut it down. I did want to talk about the insurance thing. There's like insurance is going up and cost of living is going up and stuff like that. I'll do a part 2 to this. Maybe when I get back, maybe I'll do a part 2 just to talk about the insurance. But let's get into this Breaking Points video, which y'all know I'm a big fan of Breaking Points, bro. I like, Crystal and Sagar, and Crystal took the day off, so Sagar's there taking care of business. And they're talking about the same thing. I wanted to hammer home what's going on with this CEO thing, right? I want to hammer that home because this thing could get really ugly really fast. The vast majority of Americans have had enough. They're fed up. They're fed up with this. They know they're getting gouged. They know that there's no recourse for them. They got to make something happen. As far as all these girls simping after this dude, man, y'all know what time that is. That's just women being women, bro. We're going to talk about that too later when we do the Red Pill Roundup next week. But let's get into it.
So speaking of skyrocketing insurance, shall we? We'll get to Luigi Mangione and the current developments in the case, and also the social. Well, I wouldn't go that far. He didn't follow any of us. Thank God. Yeah, I was a little worried about that.
You were like,
I was like, oh, and then I was like, okay,
dodge that one.
Well, I don't need New York Times up my ass asking me about why this guy was a fan or anything like that. Even though we did swim in very similar circles. So we've got two comedians weighing in, Joe Rogan and Bill Burr, with some cutting analysis.
Elizabeth Warren agreeing with them.
Yes, we'll get to that next. Let's take a listen to the comedians.
I think this guy, if I had to guess, some guy who got fucked over. Apparently that company is really bad on denying claims.
34% denial rate. Something
Normal's
like,
like 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those guys.
I don't think anybody's going to like be crying too hard over that guy.
Yeah, maybe his family, but that's about it.
Yeah.
It's a dirty, dirty business. The business of insurance is fucking gross. It's gross. And especially healthcare insurance. Just fucking gross.
Well, you know what's annoying me about this kid who killed this CEO is none of these news programs are talking about the incredible lack of empathy from the general public about this because of how these insurance companies treat people when they are at their most vulnerable, after we've all given them our money every fucking month, and now we finally need you, and all you do is deny us. And then these pussies and all of these things are taking the pictures of their CEOs off their websites. You know, I got to be honest with you, okay? I love that that fucking CEOs are fucking afraid right now. You should be. By and large, you're all a bunch of selfish, greedy fucking pieces of shit, and a lot of you are mass murderers. You just don't pull the trigger. That's why it looks clean. That's why these people look, oh my God, oh, he was just, you know, walking into a hotel. It's like, okay, but what was his job? What did he do? What was the results of it?
Woo, Bill, my God.
The beeps couldn't even keep up with it.
Yeah, that was interesting. Look, it's funny. I knew that the comedians were going to have a field day with this one, but with Bill, I don't even think he's joking. He's just completely. You already know that there's going to be some great sets that come out of this entire thing. But yeah, he certainly is trying to capture, I would guess, what's the underground internet mood of the country. And before
And Bill Burr was spot on, man. People know what time it is, man. They know what time it is, yo, Ty. Like I don't agree. I don't agree with that. What you just said right there. I don't agree with that. But you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's you more than welcome to agree with it. You know what I mean? That's, you know, you're more than welcome to that, to your views. I mean, that's what I serve for, man. Like I said, I believe in the First Amendment. I would say like Myron Gaines from the Fresh and Fit world, he definitely aligns with that, with what you're saying right there. That's, you know, he definitely aligns with that. I do not. That's not where I am with it. Like I said, I've been out there. I've been in that part of the world. My boots were on the ground over there. I know what it is. And I mean, it's not that. If I had that kind of wealth, if I was getting that kind of money, you'd never be able to touch me. Just like you can't touch a Vanderbilt, right? It's, you know, you can't go try to touch a Rockefeller, bro. Like go try to talk a Rothschild. Go try to touch a Rothschild. You can't touch them, right? Go try to touch a Romanoff. You can't touch them. You know what I mean? Like that's the real power. Go try it. Go try to touch one of them. You can't. It's like they're ghosts, but you know they're out there. That's where the money is, bro. That's where the governments go when they're really trying to get some bread. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. That and that debt, bro, that's America just printing money and just doing dumb stuff with it. You know, it's you know, coming off the gold standard. Coming off the gold standard, you know, Nixon did that so he can fund the Vietnam War. That's where that came from. When we started getting into debt like that and not paying that debt. I mean, when's the last time we had even a balanced budget, like a surplus? Was Clinton? I think that was the last time we had it was Clinton. Like Americans gonna learn a very powerful lesson, man. Like, you just can't keep printing money and think you're gonna be fine. So we're gonna be talking about that next week as well. So appreciate your comments, man. Keep them coming, man. Thank you so much. Like I said, I don't agree with that the whole Jew part, but the debt thing, I'm definitely on board with that.
Before we get to Elizabeth Warren, you know, we just have to put some of this stuff up there because you can see that there is a groundswell out there. I'm not endorsing it, but it is certainly out there. Let's go ahead and put, C3 up there on the screen. We play some VO of this. People are posting wanted pictures, apparently, all over the city of New York, showing the photos of CEOs of various different healthcare companies. You also have, let's go to the next one up there on the screen. You have the book the delay, deny, defend book, which was cited on the shell casings by Luigi Mangione, that has surged to number 3 on the Amazon bestseller list. Next, C5, please. The jacket apparently worn by Mangione is, quote, flying off the shelves. This is, let's see, a similar green truck. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this is just a basic green trucker jacket. I don't really know what's so special about it. The Sherpa line hooded jacket from Levi's rings in at $225. It's, quote, flying off the shelves after people speculated it was the same coat that was worn there. I mean, I guess, I'll put in a plug for trucker jackets, specifically Levi's trucker jackets. They can be very stylish. They are very nice. But yeah, you could see there is a lot of hidden energy behind this. So much so that apparently people have been offering to the lawyer of Luigi Mangione to pay his legal bills, something that the lawyer addressed in an interview. Let's take a listen.
But you said you were retained today. One big question that everyone has is, are you being paid by his family to represent him?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that.
Well, can you say that it's not his family who is asking you to retain him, or to retaining you to represent him?
I'm not going to comment on. I'm not going to comment on that. That's I've been retained. I'm not court appointed. I've been retained, and that's all I can tell you.
We had seen reports earlier that there was, people were inundating you with offers to help pay for his legal bills. Is that accurate?
I have received some emails. I have not seen them personally, but my understanding from my staff is people are doing that.
That people are reaching out to you and offering to help pay for his legal bills.
That's
people are sending in money to help pay for his legal bills. It's right there. Folks are like, yeah, we need to have this conversation, bro. You shut it off. You know what I mean? He crashed out for all of us. That's what they're saying now. This dude might be insane. This kid, this Luigi kid, he might be crazy, man. Comes from a wealthy family. He has allegedly he has some issues with his back. He's got, like some surgery done. So he's got metal in his back or whatever. But bro, America is like, yeah, man, we with this dude. We're sick and tired of this, man. And it's an easy fix. It's an easy fix, guys. It's not like it's impossible. It's like Bill Burr said, man, just quit being greedy. You know what I mean? That's what DMX was saying. Y'all been eating long enough. Now stop being greedy. Let's keep it real, partner. Give to the needy. Ribs are touching, so don't make me wait. Fuck around, I'm going to find you and snatch the plate. That's where we at right now. Shout out to DMX, the God. Shout out to DMX, Don DeMarco for him. That's where we at. Right? That's where we at right now. People have had enough. Right? They've had enough, man. There's folks out there sending money they ain't got to this dude. Let's get this dude off. You only need one person on the jury, have a hung jury, bro. This dude might get outright, might get acquitted. America is sending a message, and the 1% and those people who are working for the 1% don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the message. That's the thing. They need to listen. Quit being greedy, man. Let people get legit health care, bro. Damn, get the money somewhere else. Let's get some legit health care. Y'all can't have these billions. We're going to take these billions and let these people get what they paid for. Definitely should. We got out of the military, bro. Absolutely. I ain't mad at you about that. There's a lot of money. We spend a little over $800 billion, almost $1 trillion a year on our military, bro. Where is that money going? You're right. It should be an audit. Someone was saying something about the F-35s. Who was that? I'm trying to find it. I meant to highlight that. And it's like Elon doesn't want the F-35s. There it is. It was brother Dino. Musk wants to get rid of the F-35. Now, what he wants to do is he wants to get rid of F-35 pilots. Musk wants completely 100% autonomous fighter jets with all sorts of tactical warheads on there. That's a bad idea. And he was saying that the aircraft AI can already defeat pilots, which is true because there are limits to what your plane can do, what a human can do in a plane, because we'll pass out. So that's what he was saying. He wants to do away with the pilots, not necessarily the aircraft. But I think that's a bad idea to put automated killer jets in the sky and just have somebody hack it, and then that jet turns around, or you fool that jet, and now he's attacking the good guys when in fact the jet's been hacked and he thinks he's engaging the targets he was programmed to do. You got to have a human interface on board. He can at least hit the self-destruct button or something. But it is what it is. Shit, I ain't never gonna be untouchable, bro. I'll never hit that, bro. I'll never hit that Rothschild level of untouchability. But I appreciate that. You know what I mean? I'm just the guy that keeps my eye out. I see you coming. You know what I mean? I'll just engage you as I see you coming. I was just like, no more Israeli. How about no more lobbyists, period? How about we take the money? How about we take all the dark money out of our political system? How about we do that? Right? Once we do that, then you ain't got to worry about it. Like once you take the power away from lobbyists, that changes the system overnight. Changes it overnight. So I'm all with you. I'll just take away the Israeli part. I don't want any lobbyists. I would make it illegal for senators and former politicians to become lobbyists. We should really look at that, man. We should overturn Citizens United, take all that dark money out, right? We should impose term limits on House of Representatives, right? Term limits on the Senate. We got term limits for the president. Right, this is what we got to do. You got to keep American people. If we're going to be of the people, for the people, by the people, we got to keep putting new people in, and representing those folks where they're from, man. And it makes it harder for the 1% to legally control politicians. Now they always going to throw the money. There's always going to be, they're going to do it legally or they're going to do it illegally, but they're going to throw the money. But then people get caught when they on the take. When they dirty like that, they just get caught. And the 1% is like, we'll try to buy another one. So term limits and all that will help, man, but definitely do away with the lobbyists, man. Do away with the lobbyists, bro. That is how I look at it, man. We can change America tomorrow, but and this technology, like with what we're doing here, the discussions we have on a daily basis and what's going on, our reach on social media, in particular YouTube and all this, with X and Instagram and Snap, bro, we can start making changes. We just got to get people to wake up. What this shooter did is he woke up a lot of people, and the 1%. Right? They should be scared. They should, in fact, be scared. I'm going to have to wrap it up here, guys. There was more to this video. I'm going to link every video that we saw today in the description below so you guys can check it out. Watch them all, guys. I'm even going to put all the videos that we didn't get to watch. I'm going to put them in there as well. I got to get going. I got to go down and set up for the show. But, man, I really appreciate you guys coming out and supporting, my brother Charles, man. Thanks for pulling up. Todd, thanks for pulling up. Like I said, man, I'm gonna welcome any conversation, man. We're just gonna keep it respectful, of course. But hey, man, if you see it one way, I don't see it that way. That's fine. I ain't tripping. I'm just gonna let you know I don't see it that way. And let's keep talking. Maybe you have some information that'll change my mind. And you might show me something. I'll be like, oh shit, I didn't know that. And maybe vice versa. I can show you something like, man, look at this, bro. And you might be like, oh damn, I didn't know that. So this is why I try not to talk past people. I like to talk to everyone. Let's hear what's going on. You know what I mean? I tell you, I hit you where I'm coming from with it. You hit me where you coming from with it. And we see what it is. And even if we don't see eye to eye, man, that's fine. That's fine. But I guarantee you, we can see eye to eye on something. You know what I mean? We can see eye on eye. We can agree right now that my Cincinnati Bengals season is over. I'm pretty sure that anybody out there watching football with me will agree that my Bengals season is over. And it's like, man, we need to stop winning. Like, we beat up on we won against Dallas, which is a pretty decent game, and Dallas basically gave us that game. We need to start giving games away so we can get us some good picks, man. Like, stop winning already. You know what I mean? Stop winning. But those boys are competitive, man. Those boys are competitive. Term limits in the Supreme Court. I don't know. Maybe I like the fact that it's a lifetime appointment. But I don't know. We have to talk about that, bro. We'll have to talk about that. Convince me why we should have term limits in the Supreme Court. If we have term limits in the lower courts, I don't know. That'll be a good conversation. That'll be a good conversation. Check out the UN link when you have time. Were you able to put the UN link in here, bro? I don't see it. If you can put it in there, put it in there. You might have to type it like, just whatchamacallit, copy and paste, but check out the UN link. I'll check it out. Is it a podcast? Is it called the UN link? I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Or if you can put it in there for me, bro, if you can drop it in the description in the chat, man, I'll definitely go check it out, bro. And we can do that. And just so you know, man, like every now and then we do open up the panel, like we'll bring folks up. So next Thursday, let's plan on opening up the panel next Thursday. I'll drop the link, and then, normally the way I do it is, you turn your camera on while you're in the back so I can see you. You show me that you're a real person, and then you can put up whatever emoji you want. You don't have to be cammed up, but I like to see that you're a real person, and I pull you up and we can have the conversation. Let's plan on doing an open panel Thursday, guys. Let's plan on doing that. And then we'll continue this conversation. So Trump Thursdays, man, is where we talk politics, where we talk news, talk whatever we're going to talk. We talk that talk on Trump Thursday. So next Thursday, we'll be here talking that talk, guys. Let me show all of the chats. Make sure I get all of the chats in there, guys. I appreciate you guys rocking out with me. Now I am 1 minute behind my schedule. I got to jump up, make sure my daughter's cool, give her a kiss on the forehead, and then I got to jump in the car and go set up for this show. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a good show tonight. It's open mic, man. This is our first one. We're doing monthly, so we're trying to figure it out. We're going to start with the open mic, and probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to showcase comics. What I'm going to start to do is just invite comics, showcase them. So we do the open mic at first, and then we'll end with a pretty good show. I think that'll be fun. He's like, I put it in my phone, maybe refresh. Okay, I'll look for it. I'm looking at it live. If hey, Brother Charles, next time you on, man, I'll let you know if it came through or not. But you should be able to put that in there. Cool, but yeah, bro. If you make it down here, GMC, man, it's always a pleasure to see you, man. If you come down, let me know. It's on my Instagram, the show, the address, all that good stuff. Man, I appreciate y'all, man. This was fun. This was a good talk. Sorry we had to get rushed. We didn't get to really, we could have flowed on this for another hour and a half or so. But we're gonna get back to it. We're definitely gonna be talking more about the CEO shooter thing. We're gonna keep our eye on the Middle East, Ukraine. We're gonna see. I'm real curious to see what happens in Ukraine come January 20th. Again, I definitely want to talk about inflation still going up. The next time we talk, we're definitely going to be talking about that. Americans, like insurance, guys, how much of your auto insurance gone up lately? How much, is your healthcare coverage going up? What's going on with your home coverage, your home insurance? I know down here in Florida, it's crazy. People are losing their houses behind it. A lot of people are like, they're just self-insuring. They're not even insuring their homes, which is insane. We get hurricanes down here. But anyway, we're going to talk about all that down the road. Thanks for rocking out with me, guys. I really appreciate y'all, man. This was fun. I'm DL Saint. This is That Really Want to Know podcast. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty. Darn, that's the end.